All right, we're here. I feel like I was just doing this because I kind of was like 10 hours ago. That's the thing about martial arts radio live at night, and then first cup in the morning. But it's okay. It's all good. Oh, where's my? Here it is. 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Wednesday, December 4th, 2019. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. That wasn't meant to be like some dramatic reveal or anything. I just didn't feel like having the hood up. It's actually warm enough in here. The heat kicks on. I've got a Nest thermostat, and the heat kicks on at like 5:30. And I get out of bed at 6:10. So it's warm in here. Usually, if it's really cold out, it's on. Probably got down to about 60 last night in here because I had a fire going before I went to bed. But on the days it gets down to 55, it's cold. It's cold. Because that 55 is in the middle of the house where it's warmer. And you get to the edges like the bedroom, it's not 55. There have definitely, I used to keep a thermometer when I had first moved in here. I kept a thermometer in the kitchen at that end of the house. And the furnace is closer to that end. And 55 in the middle meant like 48 at the kitchen windows. A little bit cold. It's okay. Well, if you did not join us last night for Martial Arts Radio Live, you missed out. We had a good time, some good conversation. I think that's really where that show is headed, is conversational. We got to figure out how to reduce the delay between the recording and people being able to see it. It was about a 30-second delay, which made the chat difficult. Actually, it might have been longer than that. Good morning, Stacy. But we'll figure it out. Gabe will look into it, because Gabe's awesome. And then I'll do what I gotta do. It might mean I have to bump up my internet speed, which I'd rather not do, because that's money, but it's like $25 a month, I think, for the next tier, so we can try that. But if you did not join us for first, what is this? This is First Cup. If you did not join us for Martial Arts Radio Live, hello. And you should. Hi, Gabe. Gabe's in the chat. Frank's in the chat. This is a day I have to be productive. I have to get out of the house. I have my first meeting at like 11. I have to do book work before that. I have to record an episode. Oh. I don't know when I'm going to do that. I guess I'm going to finish this and probably have a second cup of coffee and get started at like 7:30. I normally like to hang out for a little bit, but that's not on the cards today. Gotta get it done. It's all right. I have a meeting with someone, a former IT client, just to catch up. Somebody I haven't talked to, and I don't think I talked to him since I sold the company. I think it's been 5 years. But he popped up on LinkedIn, and I was like, hey, how the hell are you? Let's have coffee. So we're going to have tea. He doesn't drink coffee. That'll be cool. What else? What else interesting is going on today? Having a conversation with a consulting client, a martial arts school. Have a phone call with them. And I'll pop over to the co-working space to get some work done. And what else? Oh, it's Wednesday, so I'm coaching CrossFit. And that's it. That's my day. We'll see how productive it is. How are you? How are all of you? I hope you had a good Tuesday. I hope your coffee is strong and hot. No. I was looking for a catchphrase. I'm doing some contemplation of a new call it a character for some new content, for some video content, something I've been toying with for a while, and it's going to be one of the major rewards available to the Patreon that we're setting up. And that's probably going to start at the $10 a month tier. There's a 2, a 5, and then it goes up from there. And we're not ready to roll that out yet. I've shared it with a few people just to get their feedback, and so far everybody says it looks good. It looks like it's like the sponsorship levels are appropriate and the rewards seem appropriate. So we'll see what happens. I'm try and pay some bills. Because the ads on First Cup episodes are not doing it. I think in the last year and a half, between ads on the audio and ads on the video, First Cup has brought in like $40. So I guess technically, because all I bought was this mug, First Cup is paid off. Unless you look at it by time. If you look at the time involved, no. So I plan to just keep making content in whatever ways people want it. And if we put some, if people like what they see and they're willing to pay for some additional content, I think that's the right way to do it. Because I'm getting a lot of people saying, I don't need a sweatshirt or a t-shirt. I don't, I respect what you're doing with uniforms and equipment, but that's not my bag. But I still want to support you. Well, that's what the Patreon is all about. I don't know when that'll go up. Maybe, probably not today. Maybe. We'll see how productive I am. I had a great podcast interview with yet another movie star. With another martial arts actor. Had a great conversation. This one was different. This one was really different. I could tell from the first 2 minutes. This guest was going to be different. I had a good time. Really good time. And I think that's going to come through. I hope everybody enjoys it. It'll be out in a few weeks. So, yeah. Well, let's get into these questions. Remember, if you want to ask a question, drop it below. What is this? Oh, what's that? That's not First Cup. Here we go. We all know how you feel about using ice on an injury. Yes, don't use ice on an injury. It's counterproductive. How do you feel about using heat? Heat can be applicable. Heat can make sense. What is heat doing? Heat is warming up the area. It's bringing in more blood, so the blood can shuttle the waste away. So that's a good thing. But if you're not using ice, you don't really need heat. Your body's going to do that. If heat makes it feel better, that's fine. If heat relaxes the injury and the area around it, that's fine. I think the time when I think of using heat is like a back injury. Gabe, we've got a interview with a gentleman named Carl Reinl. Gary Reinl, sorry. I don't know why I keep calling him Carl. Gary Reinl, R-E-I-N-L. go check out that episode. I can't pull up the episode number for you right now, but um, I am clearly not a doctor. But that episode, go check it out. Stop using ice. So like if I wrench my back, if I have some kind of lower back strain or something, the thing I aim for, it's been a while since I've done this, probably just jinxed myself, knock on wood. I'll turn to heat. And heat is the idea there to relax the muscles. So when that happens, right, you do something, your body says, it panics, muscles tighten up, and the central nervous system is saying, I don't believe that I'm safe to let go. So by heating the muscle, or if you have somebody available to you to apply some pressure, some massage, it can get the central nervous system to say, okay, I get you, I'll start backing off now. I have spent most of my life single and living alone, so I've gotten pretty good at dealing with these things. Wow, words aren't hitting. They're not coming. Brain is foggy. That's probably the most interesting thing for me about the show is how there are days when I sleep well and words aren't great and vice versa. So if you don't have a heating pad, get a heating pad because they're like 15, 20 bucks and you never know when you're going to need it. I've got one in the closet, and I think the last time I used it, it was years. It's definitely been years. So that's heat. Heat can be useful. Have you heard about the health blue zones where people live longer? Yes. There's a bunch of them. Okinawa is one of them. There are several around the Mediterranean. And if you're unfamiliar, here's what it is. It's areas where people tend to live longer. And, just a dramatic spike in the average age. And what do they find these blue zones have in common? People have purpose, they keep working. You get Okinawan fishermen in their 80s going out catching fish. There are, so there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of social interaction. The diet is broad and incorporates very little processed food. And there's some other aspects that I'm forgetting. But those are key. If you don't have purpose in your life and you don't have friends and family and you don't eat decent food and you don't move, what do you have? You're probably wolfing down frozen meals and going from work to home to work, and that's it. And that's not a life. It's something you can do temporarily. I definitely spent my 20s doing that. I didn't get it. But I understand it now. I see it clear. I'm not the most social person. I'm never going to be. I'm mostly an introvert. Which I know it's weird, doing all these shows and putting myself out there as an introvert, but I do what's got to be done. I've been doing it long enough now that the discomfort has faded. But I think I got the diet part down. Frank says he is too. Yeah, and I bet, I know what Frank does for work, and I suspect that it's a challenge. Some days, if not most days, to be social around that many people in a dynamic environment. I used to work retail, and I was exhausted. I'd be exhausted at the end of the day because I wanted to treat people well and help them, and I'd go up to everybody and, hi, what can I do for you? And I would enjoy those one-on-one exchanges. One-on-one's great. I enjoy those conversations. Probably why martial arts radio is what it is. But when you have one-on-one conversation, one after the other, after the other, after the other for 8 hours, that can get tiring. So, completely off topic. I don't know how long this divot in my chin's been there. I know that's a really silly thing to say. I have no idea how long that's been there. Frank says physically and emotionally it's exhausting. Yeah. Because I had a beard for so long, I don't remember if that's new or not. No clue. I suspect it's not new. So, I got sidetracked. And the whole point of these blue zones is that because they are in different places and because their diets are different, we can hone in on the commonalities. And by looking at those, it can give us some clues as to what will extend our lives. And, it's not rocket science. It's not, we're not pulling out any massive epiphanies on how to live longer, but what it is doing is it's reinforcing what we suspected, what we were pretty sure of. People look at one and say, oh, they eat a lot of fish. Well, and they do. A lot of places eat a lot of fish. So you can't say that. You can't say just the fish. But I think purpose is a big one. That's one that I've always identified. And the best example I have, and despite the controversy around when he retired, I'm far from a football fan, even less so a college football fan. But Penn State, the head coach there was Joe Paterno. And he was the coach there for like 50 years. It was something incredible. And I believe he was in his 80s when he finally retired. And he was kind of pushed out. And he was dead in like 6 months. And most of us know of someone who stops working and then they pass away because they didn't have purpose. They didn't have anything, not to fill their time, but there wasn't anything that they were passionate about. It's okay to work and be passionate about your work. It's okay to spend the rest of your life working if you enjoy it. If it brings you meaning. And Frank says workaholic. And I don't know that term necessarily applies to these people because, like an alcoholic is escaping something. And that alcohol isn't necessarily giving them purpose. In fact, I would say it's not giving them purpose. To invest yourself in your work, if it brings you meaning, if it makes you feel good about what your life is, I think that's a good thing. Where it becomes problematic is when you do it because that's all you have and you don't know what else to do and you don't enjoy the time, but it's better than sitting on the couch. That wasn't Joe Paterno. That's not my life. That's not it. Most of the people I know who work a lot, that's not them. Make sure you have purpose. And that purpose doesn't have to be your job. And that purpose shouldn't be other people. Doesn't mean those other people aren't important, but you've got to have a reason for getting up in the morning that involves you. And it's got to be important to you. Otherwise, you're putting far too much power in the hands of other people. And as much as, we'll use that example again, as much as this football coach's purpose was coaching, look what happened when somebody took it away from him. He didn't have a choice. Could he have found something else to do around football? Probably. But I suspect he was heartbroken. I've known people who lost their spouse, and their spouse was their purpose, and they passed away. I know somebody who I would essentially say died by emotional suicide. He lost his wife, and he was just so sad. He just didn't wake up one day. He was young. He was in his 50s, late 50s. You gotta live for yourself. You gotta find the things that you're passionate about. Where's your opportunity to have an impact? And put your all into it. And finally, do I drink green tea? Sometimes. I like green tea. It's not my favorite. If I drink tea, I tend to drink more your kind of flavored ones, fruit tea and things like that, just because that's what I tend to buy, because it's the opposite end of the spectrum from coffee. Green tea to me is like mild coffee, and I'm dripping coffee on me. It's a good thing this robe is basically a towel. I have friends who are really into tea, and this tea has to be heated at this specific temperature for this long, and I don't do that. I heat my tea the same way I heat my coffee. I turn on the Keurig, I put some hot water in a cup, and I put a bag in it, and it sits there. If it's tea that I'm making from stuff that I've harvested outside, comfrey or whatever, same thing. It just goes in a cup with hot water. That's what I do. Simple. Am I burning the tea leaves? Probably. I don't know. I'm not a tea connoisseur. My senses aren't that sensitive. Well, good questions. Remember, if you want to ask a question, drop it below. I'll answer it tomorrow. So here's your homework. My instinct is to say, find one thing to change, but we just did that like 2 days ago. So I don't want to do that. Hopefully you did that. One thing to add or remove that sets you on a path to better health. I think that's basically what it was. And that would fit well with our conversation today on Blue Zones. But let's talk about passion. I want you to identify whether or not there's something in your life that gives you purpose. Where's your passion? Frank says to find your cup of tea. If tea brings you purpose. I suspect if you do this, one of two things is going to happen. You're going to say, yes, I know what it is, and here it is, and I'm proud of it. Great. Knowing what it is awesome. Or you're going to find that there isn't something, and it's going to make you sad. And if it makes you sad, I want you to come up with some ideas. I want you to start thinking about what gives you purpose. What would make life so worthwhile that you would dedicate extra time, free time, unpaid time to it? What is a cause that is so meaningful to you that you would invest of yourself into it? And if it takes time to think about it, spend time thinking about it. And if you don't figure it out today, I want you to go on a path to find it. Because everyone needs that. I don't mean we should have it. We truly need that. Else, everything else is hollow. So, I hope you have a great day. I'm going to go have a great day. I'll see you back here tomorrow, bright and early. Subscribe, turn on notifications. We got a new episode of Martial Arts Radio dropping tomorrow. All kinds of good stuff. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel and you don't have notifications turned on, you're going to miss all this good stuff. And you can find everything we do at whistlekick.com. Take care. See you tomorrow.